And for the board president, all the WebEx members are logged in on my end.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, May 17, 2024. This meeting is taking place at the Department of Consumer Affairs Hearing Room, located at 2005 Evergreen, first floor room, Sacramento, California, 95815. My name is Carol. Excuse me. I'd like to call this meeting to order exactly 10 a.m. First, some housekeeping information on how this meeting will be conducted. This meeting is being held in person. Need a motion? I will call for a motion, a second, and open for public comment prior to taking a roll call vote for each. Members, for the record, please state your name prior to making your motion or when seconding a motion. Take public comment on each agenda item. Members of the public who request to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak, and you will be notified when you have 30 seconds remaining. Your name is not necessary, but please indicate how you would like us to identify you. For the sake of efficiency, the executive officer may respond directly to public comment or defer to the appropriate staff person or counsel as appropriate. For any questions directed to the board, I will either answer the question or direct it to a board member as appropriate. We will now do an alphabetical roll call to establish quorum. Board members, when your name is called, please introduce yourself and give a brief description of your role. Aisha Brown. Absent. Leah Carpenter. John Durking. Gloria Gregoria Guzman. Present. Abraham Hill. Present. Leslie Moore. Present. Nellie. Present. Rashima Sanson. Again, I'm Carol Mountain. I am the education member. Based on the roll call, we have a quorum. Agenda item 2, I invite you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Alita Carpenter will lead us in that. Allegiance. We will move on to agenda item 3, introduction of board staff. Ms. Yamaguchi, please introduce yourself and your staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody. Elaine Yamaguchi, Executive Officer for the board. With me today is our staff from enforcement, the Chief, Antoinette Wood, Manager Jay Prouty, our analyst Alex Clark. From our admin unit, our admin manager Jeff Weiler, our analyst Rebecca Ball. Education, we've got Jessica Gomez, we've got Mary Bridget Berry, Roberta Thompson, Cindy Fairchild. I think there was some on the line. And Mr. Nicholas Gonzalez, our analyst. From licensing, we have our manager Shelley Brown, supervisors Michael Hall and Gabriella Elrick. Missed anybody? I apologize. This is got her. Oh, I will say, of course, that our AEO, Mr. Mark Ito, is absent because he would rather go to his daughter's graduation. Chair.
Legal counsel, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kenneth Swenson, Board General Counsel. Ms. Shields, the regulatory counsel for the board, will not be with us today, but she has briefed me on the regulatory issues. I'm prepared for questions in that regard.
Excellent, thank you. We will move on to agenda item 4A, acceptance of the minutes from the February 16, 2024 board meeting. We have minutes from our board meeting on May 16, 2024. or to approve, included in your packets and posted on to the YouTube video are printed agenda. I have a motion and a second for the 18-20.
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Board meeting minutes from February. Any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, we will move on. Any public comment? And for the record, Mr. Maxey is at the table. Seeing no public comment, I will do a roll call and establish who is in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey? Ms. Moore? Needless? Yes. Sansa? I also, yes. To approve the February 16, 2024 by a vote of 9. All right, we're ready to move on to agenda item 4B, acceptance of the minutes from the April 10, 2024 board meeting. We have minutes from our board meeting on April 10, 2024. Packets and posted. I have a motion to second for the April 10, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
State your name, please. Thank you. Any board discussion or questions? Seeing none. Any public comment? Seeing none.
This is the moderator. If you could first call public comment in the room, and if there's none there, then we can open it up on WebEx for the attendees. We have 29 attendees right now.
Okay, great. We have no public comment here. Please open it up online.
Thank you so much. So I have opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on this agenda item, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or you may simply raise your hand. We'll give you a brief moment. All right, Madam President, I see no request for comment at this time. I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much.
Madam President, maybe it would be a good issue that just occurred is to recall public comment for agenda.
All right. Can we do that, moderator, please? Can we recall public comment for agenda item A in case someone did have a public comment?
Yes, of course.
That would be agenda item 4. It's from February.
Thank you, Mr. Swenson.
All right, so we have public comment open for 4A, and if any member of the public would like to comment that is logged into WebEx, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We'll give you a moment. All right, this is the moderator. I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And since there is no comment, we will resume our place of voting on the April 10, 2024 meetings. I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Mr. Durkee?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Moore? Yes. Needless? Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And yes. Motion to end 2024 carries by a vote of 9. Now move to agenda item 5, board update from DC Brian Clifford, DC Executive Officer. Coming, Mr. Clifford.
Morning, and thank you for having me. Brian Clifford with the Department of Consumer Affairs. First, May 5th through 11th was Service Recognition Week, and DCA joined 1,000 DCA Board and Bureau employees dedicated to protecting California consumers. DCA thanks all employees and board members for their service and contributions to consumer protection. On April 30th, DCA hosted an in-person meeting with our Secretary Moss and executives. It served as an opportunity for DCA leaders to meet our new secretary, hear her vision and priorities for the business, consumer services, and housing agency and the department. Next, regarding federal Title IV special aid funding, as you're aware, the Department of Education, the U.S. Department of Education announced a new regulation that will affect non-degree school programs by boards or bureaus. Starting July 1st, 2024, will limit program length to 100% of the state's minimum hour requirements, making the minimum requirement the maximum. Non-compliant after July 1st, 2024. However, on April 2024, in response to questions from numerous states and schools, the U.S. Department of Education issued guidance regarding changes to program restrictions, including exercising its enforcement discretion until January 1st, 2025. DCA is committed to working with the U.S. Department of Education, the legislature, and our executive officers on this important issue. To that end, on May 15th, the Department of Finance released a list of trailer bill proposals Title IV fix. DCA will continue to monitor this and work with the impacts. Next, DCA has learned of a recent increase in scams targeting licensees. Though the nature of the scams varies, they are similar in that they involve falsely identifying themselves as boards, telling the licensee they are under investigation. The scammers attempt to gather personal and financial information. Boards are urged to be vigilant and proactive in providing licensees with tips on avoiding scams. April 5th, 2020, DCA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, also referred to as DEI Steering Committee, held its quarterly meeting. We discussed the member application process, establishing subcommittees, and soliciting input from the community to expand language access, workforce development, and advanced DEI in 2024. The next committee meeting will be held on July 26th, 2020. Have ideas you'd like the committee to consider? Urge you let your executive officer know. As a reminder, DCA's Learning Management, or LMS, has many DEI training courses. Board members are encouraged to participate in trainings and continue to grow. Next, regarding outreach, DCA's Office of Public staff participated in 3 Facebook Live events hosted by the Consulate of Mexico. Staff presented Get to Know DCA in Spanish, shared a broad overview of consumer and licensing information. Consulates have expressed interest in future event partnerships to share even more licensing and consumer resources. Additionally, in the coming months, DCA will be developing workforce development outreach opportunities for all boards and bureaus to participate in. Looking ahead, fiscal year comes to an end, please submit your travel expense claims, TECs, as soon as possible. June 7th. Claims submitted after this date will still be processed. However, the State Controller's Office will not issue payments until after July 5th. All travel expenses and advances submitted for travel on or after July 1st process for payment after the budget is signed. For questions regarding travel claims, please contact board. As a reminder, board members must complete member orientation or BMO. Will be offered virtually on 18th, 2024, and again, 22nd, 2024. Can register for this training. And lastly, the annual 700 filing period has ended. DCA and Vocational would like to thank our board members and officers for helping us achieve a near 100% compliance rate. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Mr. Swenson, do I need public comment on that?
It would probably be a good idea.
All right. Are there any further comments from the board? Seeing none, are there any public comments here in the room? All right, seeing none, could we please open it up for public comment, moderator?
Thank you, Madam President. I have opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item number 5, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen or simply raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and will give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. We will move forward to agenda item 6, fund condition and budget updates from the Department of Consumer Affairs budget staff.
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning. My name is Harmony DiFilippo, and I'm the budget manager with the DCA Budget Office. Excuse me. I want to thank you and the board for the opportunity to present on agenda item 6A and the documents included. First, I'm going to start with the board's expenditures, which is item 6A1 of your materials. These projections are based on actual data through fiscal month 9. This report includes 22-23 actuals in green compared to 23-24 budgeted and projected expenditures in the blue and orange. As we move to the end of the document, you will see the board had a beginning base budget of $18.4 million and is projected to spend a little over $17.3 million, creating a reversion to the board's fund of approximately $1.30 million, a reversion percentage of 5.79%. The next document I'm going to go over is the board's revenue projections, which is page 2 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through March and provides the projected revenue to year end. I will go further into the projections as we transition into the next slide. The next slide, item 3 of your materials, is the board's fund condition statement. As a reminder, we read this document from top to bottom and left to right. The left column is the board's 22-23 prior year actuals. It shows the board began 22-23 with an adjusted beginning balance of $2.573 million. The board collected $23.32 million in revenues, with $7.149 million from initial license fees, $15.1 million from license renewals, and $1.64 million was collected from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board expended $18.49 million, which includes $1.368 million in direct draws to the fund for statewide pro rata and pension payments. The board's 22-23 ended with just over $7.847 million reserve balance, or about 5 months in reserve. For current year 23-24, the board projects revenues of just over $24.78 million, with a little over $7 million projected from initial license fees, $16.5 million from renewals, and $1.1 million from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board's 23-24 expenditures are based on the governor's budget with FM9 projections at $18.65 million between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, leaving the board with a fund balance of approximately $13.9 million, or 8.6 months in reserve. The budget office will continue to monitor the board's revenue and expenditures and report back to the board on a monthly basis as we close each fiscal month in the current year. A few things to note about the board's fund condition. The fund condition is a snapshot in time. One of the main factors driving expenditure increases in future years is a result of personnel service adjustments. These include general salary increases as well as employee compensation and retirement rate adjustments. The budget office includes a conservative ongoing 3% increase to expenditures on the fund condition statement to account for these ongoing incremental adjustments. The fund balance reserve is the amount of funds remaining at the end of any given fiscal year. The board's fund has a statutory fund balance limit of 24 months, but typically 3 to 6 months is considered sufficient. As you can see, the fund balance is healthy and showing growth over the next 3 years. The budget office has no concerns and will continue to monitor the budget and provides updates to the executive staff on a regular basis. Lastly, I would like to note to the board that any future legislation or unanticipated events could result in the board's need for additional resources, which would create cost pressures on the fund. The budget office will continue to monitor the board's fund condition and keep an open line of communication with the board's executive staff for any future needs or expectations. Again, I would like to thank you for the board members and executive staff for allowing me the opportunity to present at today's meeting, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, are there any public comments? I see no public comments here. Moderator, could we please open the online public comments?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 6, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, this is a moderator. I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. We will move on to agenda item 7, Education Division Report. Dr. McLeod, Lead Nursing Education Consultant.
Good morning. How's everyone? The education division's doing great. We have the report for you in your packet, and I'll give you a few highlights. The NEC's conducted 17 on-site program visits since the last report, so we've been busy and out there talking to programs. It's been a interesting time. We have 24 proposed programs that we started with, and we had 6 additional programs that are proposed progress in the month of March. We're very pleased to say that one of those was a psychiatric technician program. We're very happy about that, and that program, as of next week, is moving into the proposed program process. We had 3 proposed programs that have been approved as active programs. We have 10 programs in process right now to become active programs. So we're doing really well with the proposed program process. I also want to mention that we had our director forum on May the 8th. It was very well attended. We had over 100 programs attend. We do want to thank our board president, Carol Mountain, for speaking. She got overall positive reaction to her presentation, and we haven't had an overall positive reaction to the director forum. I'll have more information on that at the August meeting, but we're very pleased with how it went, and it seems that the programs are pleased as well. If you have any questions, I'm available for questions.
Thank you so much for that report, and it's very exciting that there's a new psychiatric technician program that's starting. Thank you for sharing that. That's excellent. Are there other comments or questions from the board members? Seeing none, are there any public comments? Moderator, could we please open it up for online comments?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And I actually do see a question that is regarding agenda item 6 about the budget. I'm not sure if we'd like to take that or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So, Andy, you should be able to unmute yourself. Try that one more time. All right, so maybe Andy cannot unmute him or herself, but the question was, can we see the budget and expenses for the salary grid? So, and I am not seeing any further requests for comment.
So the board can receive the comment and move back to item 7A, comments on that one, please.
Correct. One last call for comments on agenda item 7.
This would be 7A, the Education Division Report.
Thank you. All right, I see none. So, Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you, and I will call for a roll call vote on ratification approval of executive officer program decisions for the period from January 23, 2024 to April 16, 2024. That is part of the Education Division report.
Madam Chair, we need a motion a second first.
Oh, sorry. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved. I'll second.
Mr. Maxey, you missed it, but you have to say your name first. Sorry.
Kenneth Maxey.
Thank you.
John Deerkin will second.
Thank you. Mr. Swenson, should I call for public comment again?
Comment, public comment, and then call the
Okay.
roll.
Are there any board comments on review, ratification, approval of executive officer program decision for period from January 23, 2024 to April 16, 2024? Seeing no board comment, or is there public comment in the audience? Seeing none, moderator, could we please open that up for online comment?
Thank you so much. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the right-hand corner of your screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. I will now do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Yes. Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Neeblis?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And I'm Carol Mountain. I also vote yes. This motion carries by a vote of 9. We are ready to move on to 7B, request to admit students. We will take the first one, which is Cypress College Psychiatric Technician Program, and that will be Ms. Devia. Is there any new or additional information to your record?
Good morning, board members. There's no new or additional information, and I've submitted my report for Cypress College Psychiatric Technician Program with the request to admit of 20 students to commence in August, graduating in December of 25. My recommendations are to approve the request, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can I have a motion to approve the Cypress College PT program report and adopt the NEC recommendations in regard to a request to admit students, and a second?
Abraham Hill, so moved.
Second. Thank you. Is there any comment from representatives of the program? All right, seeing none. Are there any board discussion or questions? I also see none there. I did want to say I saw that they had improved their last 3 capital their scores from students, so that was headed in the right direction. It shows improvement. That's excellent. Yes. Oh, good. Excellent.
Yes, hello, Madam President.
Yes, we can
Or-
hear you. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Jaime Ramos. I represent Cypress College, and Dr. Acosta is here present. And I just want to let you know that we received a report from NEC Davila, and we concurred and we accepted. And thank you. Yes, we are moving forward, and our scores are improving. And thanks to the help of NEC Davila, and I'm looking forward to continuing improved over our scores. And I just want to thank everyone.
And thank you for sharing that. Is there any further public comment? Moderator, are we able to open that up for any further public comment?
Yes, I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7B, number 1, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. And I do see we have a comment request from Dr. Andrew Sanchez. Just a reminder that you will have 3 minutes, and I will give you a 30-second reminder. So Dr. Sanchez, you should be able to unmute yourself. All right, Dr. Sanchez, if you see a prompt to unmute yourself, go ahead and click on it. All right, we'll try that one more time. Dr. Andrew Sanchez, I can't unmute you. I can only give you permission to unmute. So if you see a prompt to unmute yourself, go ahead and click on that. Okay, so it looks like Dr. Sanchez is having difficulty unmuting himself. Dr. Sanchez, if you'd like, you can type out your question in the Q&A panel and I can read it for you.
So the board is receiving public comment, not questions. So if there's any public comment.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. So Dr. Sanchez, if you'd like to type out a comment in the Q&A panel, please do so. Okay, so Dr. Sanchez has typed out, thank you for your support to accepting Cypress to continue admitting students. And good luck to Cypress College.
Thank you so much.
All right. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Yes. Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Neeblis?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. The motion carries by a vote of 9. We will now move forward to Black College, Alhambra, Vocational Nursing Program. Ms. Barrett, is there any new or additional information to your report? Additional information. Can I have a motion to approve the Platt College Alhambra BN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations in regard to a request to admit students, and the second?
John Deerking will so move.
Thank you.
For a second.
Thank you. Is there any comment from representatives of the program?
Morning to everyone on the board. I'm Keisha Alvarado, the director from Platt College. Their vocational nurse.
Chair.
No, that's students. I need to. And this is Ian, our assistant director for the program. We do want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come and present. We do agree with Ms. Barrett's recommendations, and we'll definitely follow her recommendations to the T. We have been committed to improving our program since we've inherited it, and we have seen improvements in the changes that we have made and implemented. Just want to, again, thank you and reassure you that we are committed to producing a good quality product, which in our case is nurses. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any board discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing none, can we ask online if there is a public comment?
Thank you, Madam President. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7B2, please raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Yes. Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Needless?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
I also vote yes. That motion carries by a vote of 9. Thank you so much for coming. We'll now move on to number 3, Smith Chasen, School of Nursing, Ontario. Dr. McLeod is the lead nursing education consultant. Do you have any new or additional information to your report?
I have no additional information for my report, and I do recommend that they get the 30 students to start on June the 30th.
Excellent. Can I have a motion to approve the Smith Chasen School of Nursing Ontario VN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations in regard to a request to admit students, and a second?
John Durkin will move.
Thank you.
Abraham Hill, second.
Thank you. Is there any comment from representatives of the program?
My name is Dr. Tiffany Jorgensen. I'm the director of the nursing program over at Smith Chasen College. Also with me is Miss Judy Corliss, our consultant. I just wanted to thank the board very much for allowing us the chance to represent our college today and our nursing program. And we are just incredibly proud to report all of the significant progress that we've made over these last few months. For instance, our latest pass rates are 95%. That's an increase from our previous quarter, which was 94%. So we are just strong and consistent and very excited. And we want to give a special thank you to Dr. McLeod, our NEC, for all of her collaboration and support that we've received these last few months. I know she is a very, very busy lady as the lead at NEC, and her plate is incredibly full. So for her to make time to meet with us on a regular basis has truly meant the world to us, and is just allowing us to take a more proactive approach to be able to address any kind of student issues before they become an actual problem. And it just helps keep all of us on the same page. So we're very, very grateful to Dr. McLeod for her collaboration. Also, thank you to Ms. Yamaguchi, our executive officer, for meeting with us too. I know I can be a little persistent and request meetings, and I just want to do this the right way. But we are just so thrilled to report that we are on a very positive trajectory. We've gained a lot of incredible momentum, and we have no desire to slow down. So what we've been witnessing has just been very inspiring. Our entire faculty and staff have really united together and have lifted one another up, and we're seeing the positive effects that that's having on our students. I'm a Navy veteran. I've done deployments. I was an ICU nurse all throughout COVID, and this is a very different type of challenge. Education, especially nursing education, has been a very new challenge for me. So I just wanted to reassure the board that as someone who is newer to this type of role, I am very much open to mentorship and guidance, and we've been receiving that, and we're just very much appreciative. So that's what we would like to share.
And I had said to the board at the last meeting that I would stick with our director here because she was new, mentoring her along the way, and it's been a pleasure. She is amazing. Maybe because she's come from the service, I'm not sure, but she's the most disciplined director I've ever met, and everybody loves her. So I'm going to continue consulting with them so that every regulation will stay right on track with this school. It is a really great school. So thank you so much for having us. And again, Ms. Yamaguchi, for you meeting with us. We really appreciate it.
Dr. Jorgensen, do you accept the recommendations of the nursing education consultant?
To allow our 30 students, yes, I very much accept that recommendation.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your comments and for sharing where your program's going. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Mountain.
Any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any public comment from the audience? Once again, I see none. Can we ask if there's any public comment online, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7B3, please type comment in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. And just a reminder that the Q&A column is just meant to let us know that you have a comment to make, not to type or communicate with anyone. I will see if we have a Ninette Cow, see if Ninette would like to. So Ninette, if you have a comment on agenda item 7B3, just a comment pertaining to that, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have the option to make a comment, but I did want to express a few words from our clinical liaison, Ms. Crystal Lemus. Her statement says, to whom it may concern, I'd like to express my experience at Smith Chasen. I've been a faithful employee at Smith Chasen since 2016 in my 8 years here. I have seen all the ups and downs and in the in-betweens with the tragic loss of our former director, Dr. Haney. A lot has changed, and I've seen major changes over the years, but I have never seen such improvement overall with our director, Tiffany Jorgensen. She goes above and beyond and is raising the standard all around. And on my behalf, I would just like to say that in the 6 months that I have been with Smith Chasen School of Nursing at Ontario, Dr. Jorgensen has tackled every obstacle with a tenacity that I have not witnessed before. Her determination to not only improve the program, but to also provide the best opportunities for our students is inspiring, and it has really rippled throughout the program. I have personally received many comments from both students and partnering departments, praising the positive changes on numerous occasions. I've even had students that as far back as 2012 give me a call and let me know that they have heard about the changes and that they are very proud of how far our school has come. I look forward to seeing many more improvements under her leadership, and that is all.
Thank you.
And we have a comment request from Andy. Andy, you should be able to unmute yourself.
I would like to thank the board for accepting the new 13 new students for coming new cohort. And of course, congrats to Smith Chasen in the leadership of Dr. Jorgensen. Thank you so much.
All right, and I see no further requests for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you, and thank you for those who commented. I will now do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Needless?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. That motion carries by a vote of 9. We will now move forward to item number C, report of continued approval process consideration recommendation for provisional approval. And our first one is Summit College El Cajon. Yeah, no worries. I'm not done reading. Vocational nursing program, Dr. Thompson, nursing education consultant. All right. When you're ready, Dr. Thompson? Sure.
Good morning. I have submitted my report for Summit College, El Cajon Vocational Nursing Program for a report of continuing approval and consideration for provisional approval. My recommendation is to grant continued approval for Summit College, El Cajon for a period of 2 years beginning March 11th, 2024, and place Summit College, El Cajon Vocational Nursing Program on provisional approval for 2 years starting May 17, 2024. They are to correct all their violations on or before June 1st, 2024. And failure to do this, we will be placing them on the August board agenda for removal from the board approved program list. And I do have a report, a little bit of a report update on April 22nd, 2024, a new program director started at El Cajon campus, and this will alleviate some of the issues with one program director for San Bernardino and El Cajon campuses. The program has submitted responses to violation 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 19, and 21 on 5, 14, and 15. I've not had the opportunity to review the submission, and so my report stands as written.
Thank you so much. Is there any comment from representatives of this program?
Morning. My name is Alexandra Avakova. I am the Director of Nursing at El Cajon Summit College. Dr. Thompson.
Nice to meet you.
First of all, I'd like to start with thanking.
Could you please speak into the mic?
Sorry. Sure. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the board members, Madam President, for having Summit El Cajon campus to provide more detailed information regarding this matter. Summit College El Cajon is very happy to report that we have had 4 consecutive quarters of 100% NCLEX pass rate. El Cajon remains well above national average for the NCLEX exam. We are also happy to report that the most of the violations that reported have been rectified. And having it being paperwork in nature, we have reviewed and updated the paperwork portion of the violations. We have corrected the documents for violation number 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 14, 19, and 21. We have provided the documentation to Dr. Thompson. El Cajon understands that effective July 1st, our approved program will need to be reduced from 1,586 hours to 1,530 hours, and those changes are underway currently. Summit College is also fully aware of the 1-to-10 ratio, and it is currently implemented both in San Bernardino and in El Cajon. Violation 22, which states that there were 20 students on the site with 1 instructor. There were actually 2 faculty members present with the students at that time.
Graduates.
And they were graduate students as well.
I see. For just a quick second. The administration was at the ATI meeting for training in Salt Lake City, and there was a meeting that Dr. Thompson came in to do a campus review, and it appeared we had students without a director, but we only had 2 groups that were working on NCLEX review, and they were graduates. We did have 2 faculty there, so we didn't have any classes at the time, and I don't think that our receptionist, when Dr. Thompson came, understood that. So,
That is San Bernardino campus. you're referring to,
okay,
and
okay,
so that's
sorry.
not what we're discussing now.
I apologize because I want to make sure that we covered that, when we're at the meeting.
Right.
Okay,
And-
go ahead.
right.
I'm sorry.
And as I said, the 1-to-10 student ratio is currently being implemented under my supervision in El Cajon as well. So I just wanted to make sure that that is being reported. With 100% pass rates and a cohort graduating June 7th, 2024, we are requesting a start of 30 for full-time of August 5th, 2024. Dr. Lamore, our Dean of Nursing at San Bernardino, as well as consultant Judy Corliss, are available for me as additional resources, in addition to obviously Dr. Thompson. Summit College has also been committed to our students in diligently complying with all the BVNPT regulations. We are respectfully requesting not to be placed on provisional status at this time due to our pass rates being at 100% for all 4 quarters. I'd also like to add that Summit College, specifically in El Cajon, has the needs to continuous start to maintain the faculty, to maintain clinical sites, and to support.
Thank you. I received a request for a request to admit as of this point. That's not part of this report.
Excuse me, can I ask also, what is the cost to students to attend Summit College or no?
Per student, 37,000.
7,000.
And the recommendation they be placed on provisional had nothing to do with their pass rates. I was well aware of their pass rates. The former director who left in beginning of the year had been working quite diligently with students and had really improved their pass rates. And so that was not ever a consideration. The continuing approval visit did not go well. And at that point, because according to the rules, when everything is not in the completed final form by the date of the expiration of the approval, they could be closed down. And we opted to give them an opportunity to try to fix these things rather than close them down at that point. And there were 2 NECs at that visit, not just myself, but another one also. Actually, the NEC who had been there, NEC for a number of years before I came on.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there other questions from the board? Do we have the representatives?
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, please.
Dr. Thompson, is there anything you've heard during the hearing today that has changed your recommendation?
No, sir, I have not.
Thank you for asking a question. Are there any public comments? First. Okay. All right, let's go back. Can I have a motion to approve the Summit College El Cajon BN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations regarding the continued approval process and consideration of recommendations for provisional approval, and a second?
Abraham Hill, so moved.
Lisa Carpenter, second. Thank you. Is there any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment here in the room? Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss one? Go ahead.
I just wanted to hear from Dr. Thompson. What in your visit made you kind of hesitant when it came to
closing them?
Yes.
Really, we were just, my main concern was because there were a number of students and I felt we'd give them another chance. So if these students were not displaced, especially the ones that were near completion. And I spoke with the faculty at that time was very committed. And they were making an attempt. It's just that it was incomplete submission. Other NEC self discussed it and discussed it with Dr. Lamore, who was covering as program director at that time, and also with Jessica Hillman, who is from administration, and all concurred that they would like the opportunity. So
there weren't any jarring kind of procedural issues or anything. It was just the completion of the actual paperwork and putting it on.
Well, if you can see the number of,
Well, yeah, the violations, I saw that.
violations, things, yeah, there was, some things, go into some of them more detail. One of them was, he wasn't followed on that day that we were there, and the instructor said, no, we'll have them in class the other day. It's in the clinical skills lab. Well, then you can't give them 8 hours clinical skills, just things like that.
Thank you, that's what I needed.
Thanks for that clarification.
Madam Chairman.
Yes, please.
Dr. Thompson, when you referred to closing the school,
Mm-hmm.
did you mean removing the school from the list of approved programs?
Yes, yes.
So, and you're not recommending that, but I just want to make clear that when
Yeah,
you're,
that's the proper terminology.
that was the shorthand way of saying
Yes.
remove it from the list of
From
approved
the
programs.
approved program
Thank
to a
you.
non-approved.
Any other board questions? Any public comments from the audience here? Seeing none, are there any public comments online, moderator, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7C1, please raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. And I do see one raised hand. Oh, they lowered it. All right, we'll give people a moment. All right, it looks like we have a comment from Faye Silverman. Faye, you should be able to unmute yourself. And Faye, you are unmuted.
Hi, this is Faye Silverman. I'm the NEC who had Summit College for the previous 7 years prior to Dr. Thompson's arrival at the board. When we went, I was with her at that visit, and when we went out to do that visit, they were in total violation of regulation, which clearly states that all paperwork has to be submitted by midnight of the day of the end of their approval status. And if it is not done so, that it is an automatic, as legal counsel stated, that they would be removed from the approved list and put onto the non-approved list. We worked with higher ups at Summit at that meeting after we went through and found all those violations, and they begged us basically to give them a second chance, and we decided that we would give them a second chance and we would give them an opportunity between this board meeting and the next board meeting to fix all of the violations that existed. NCLEX was never an issue. It was all of the other violations. It was the violation of not submitting their continuing approval paperwork in a timely fashion before midnight of the end of their approval. And that was what was agreed upon by both parties. It was agreed upon by Dr. Thompson, myself, and the administration of Summit at that time, that we would put them on provisional, give them the opportunity to fix all of their violations. And if they had not fixed those violations prior to the next board meeting, which is in Dr. Thompson's report, then they would be brought back to be removed from the approved list. And that is why we did it that way. Thank you.
Madam Chairman. Ms. Silverman, were you offering those comments in your capacity as a nursing education consultant?
This is the moderator. Forgive me. As soon as she finished, I muted her microphone. So let me find her again and give her the opportunity to respond. So Faye, if you see a prompt to unmute yourself, please, there you go.
I was the NEC who went out there with her. So I would say that I'm making my comments as an NEC. I'm not currently their NEC, but I was the NEC for this school for 7 years prior to Dr. Thompson coming to the board. And I was with her. I was the NEC with her on that visit.
Ms. Silverman, then, are you offering these comments as a nursing education consultant?
Yes.
Or as a member of the public?
I am offering these as a nursing education consultant.
So the board may receive these comments in that capacity we should allow the program representatives a chance to respond and then reopen for public comment. Thank you.
Hi, my name is, can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Jessica Gillen. I'm the COO of Summit College. And I do want to thank all the board members for hearing us today. And also to Dr. Thompson and Ms. Faye Silverman that was there at the time of the visit. We received a lot of great counsel and certainly grace on the day of the visit. We were going through quite some transitions at that time, and we did agree upon that at the present time of the visit that it was to not remove us from the approved list or to shut us down, as what the terminology was earlier. But I do want to let the board know that at the time of the visit, Summit College did upload all the requirement documents into the drive, the Dropbox drive. And due to technical difficulties on, I'm not sure whose end, on the board's end, what we were also experiencing that at the time of the visit, that it was not received. But that is the, Summit College has definitely submitted all those things as in the timely manner that it was in. With that being said, we are here. We want to make it very clear that we thank the opportunity to be here and to be considered. We are grateful, obviously, for Ms. Silverman and Dr. Thompson's guidance through all this, but it is Summit continues to be a college that has been around for 34 plus years, and that stresses to serve the underserved population. Thank you.
Mr. Swanton, additional comments?
Yes. For the board, then I wanted to ask Dr. Thompson a question.
Are there additional comments or questions from the board? Mr. Swenson.
Dr. Thompson, having heard the additional information from the program representatives, has that changed your recommendation in any way?
I know my recommendation has not changed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Madam Chair, then we should go back to public comments on the pending motion in the room, online, and then call the question. Thank you.
Are there public comments in the room on the pending motion to approve the NEC report? I see no public comments. Moderator, can we please open for public comments on the motion to approve the NEC report in the online environment?
So the pending motion is to approve the NEC report and adopt the recommendations therein.
All right, thank you. The Q&A panel is open. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And at this time, I will call for a roll call vote and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstained. Ms. Carpenter? Yes. Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Yes.
Opposed.
I'm sorry?
I oppose.
No. Opposed, okay. Ms. Sansan?
Yes.
All right, and I also vote yes. So that motion carries by a vote of 8.
Almost 8-1.
8-1. All right, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. We will now move on to item number D. Consideration of provisional approval request to admit students from Medical Career College. Dr. Thompson is also the nursing education consultant for them. Is there any new or additional information to your report?
No, there is not.
No, there's not. Can I have a motion to approve the Medical Career College VN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations regarding consideration of provisional approval and request to admit students, and a second?
John Durkin will so move.
Thank you.
Trustee Moore, second.
Thank you. Are there any representatives from the program here to make comment?
They may be online.
That's what I was gonna say. Are they online?
And this is the moderator. If they are online, if they could just raise their hand so I can give them the ability to unmute. And if you've called in, you can raise your hand by pressing *3. All right, I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Okay. Are there any board discussion or questions? I have a quick question for Dr. Thompson. Are they going back to using ATI as a predictor to determine who's eligible to be one of their graduates? I kind of got that from the report and I was like,
Yes, they, they have been, it's been suggested to them that they not use it as high stake testing, that it just be a predictor and not to affect graduation.
I support that.
That has not been fully placed in place.
I guess I just want it for the record how much that skews their results. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they have their board pass rates for the quarters have gone from 13 below to down as low as 40. Now they're at 25. So it's.
Well, I saw, it looked like on this last class that it was going to be, that they had 11 students who'd completed, but they only considered 6 as graduates. And so those other 5 have to take the test as non-graduates. And so that doesn't count against their board passing stats. Yeah.
And the school is up for continuing approval in August.
It is up for continuing approval in August. Okay, that's excellent to know. Thank you so much.
I was out there last November to do I did an announced site visit, and we talked about this at the time, talked about some of the other issues that were going on, and have not seen the improvement that I would have liked to have seen.
Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
Dr. Thompson, has the program objected to your recommendations in any way?
No, the only thing that they objected to is they asked for a larger class in the beginning, and we talked about that. And I really recommended that they rethink that, because with pass rates like this, they really need to have a smaller cohort so that they can, be able to really service them better. And then their some of their campus facilities and things are very small. Like their skills lab is very limited. To take a larger class, they would have not had the proper resource. Other than that, they have not objected to it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Any other questions? All right. Are there any public comments in the room? Seeing no public comments, moderator, could we please open for comments from the online environment?
Thank you, Madam President. I have opened the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item D1, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains at this time. Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Needless?
Abstain.
Abstain, thank you. Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So there are 8 in favor and 1 abstention. We will now move forward to number 2, Summit College, San Bernardino Vocational Nursing Program. Also, Dr. Thompson. Is there any new or additional information to your report?
No, there is not.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the Summit College San Bernardino BN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations regarding consideration of provisional approval and request to admit students, and a second?
John Deerking will so move.
Thank you.
Lead Carpenter's second.
Thank you. Is the of the program?
Hi, good morning. My name is Dr. Alicia Lamore. I'm the program director for Summit College. I also have with me our consultant, Ms. Judy Corliss, and also Jessica Gillian. There you go.
Right in front.
Our CEO. So first, I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak today. Summit College have been very successful for the last 34 years. Our pass rates have been rising. Compared to last year, our quarterly pass rate have increased by 15%. Last quarter, we met the quarterly and annual pass rate. Last year, 3 of our quarters also met quarterly and annual pass rates. On the May 7th board report, on page 8 of 37, there are violations that we do not agree with for the following reasons. Violation number 1, school administrators describe a current admission procedure for the vocational nursing program that differs from the approved criteria and provided to students in a handbook. Summit College response to this is as follows. On 4/8/24, our NEC did an unannounced visit and did not have communication with the campus management to discuss the admissions process. In addition to that, the program director was at an ETI seminar. No violation occurred. Violation number 2, the program director was absent from the campus and designated the program administrative assistant as program contact in her absence. The staff member is not approved faculty member and is unable to actively administer the program when the program director is not available. Summit's response to this violation is as follows. The DON was accepting any and all calls for issues in regards to the program and students' needs. As I was at the ATI seminar, and there were also no students on campus that day. No violation occurred. Violation number 3, the program director time is divided between 2 Summit College campuses that are 110 miles apart. An instructor identified to administer the program in the director's absence at San Bernardino has not been approved as assistant director when the program director is not on site. The individual designated to oversee the vocational nursing program is approved as instructor to teach theory and clinical only. Summit's response to this violation is as follows. Dr. Thompson actually approved me to oversee both locations on January 17, 2024. Summit College is not required to have an assistant director, and there were no students on campus that day. No violation occurred. We will respectfully request not to be placed on provisional status as our current pass rates meet board requirements and our last 3 quarters annual rates have shown consistent increases, which shows that we're on the right path. In agreement with our NEC, we have requested to start 25 students for full-time and 20 for part-time. We respectfully request our regular starts be reinstated with 4 starts full-time of 40 students and our part-time start of 40 students twice a year. This program cannot sustain with 20 students per start. We risk losing exceptionally talented faculty that we worked hard to recruit, facilities that agree to work with us during a challenging time with reduced students. We continue to communicate regularly with our NEC, who has been extremely helpful and instrumental in helping us keep our best practices. We continue to thank you for our time and commitment to our program. Thank you.
And just one other statement, we're trying to make sure that the students get all the tools they need and all the extra help. Many of these students are first-time college in their families, and so we've put a lot of hours of extra faculty into helping these students. So if we go too much below 20, it's hard to keep full-time faculty. It makes really inconsistency. And we find this in whether it's the RN program, the LVN, or what have you. When you get that low, they don't have a job, so they go somewhere else. And then we get in trouble for having such a, sorry, there's a bug, a turnover, and we don't want a turnover. We want to keep our faculty, keep them consistent, and keep them with our students. And so that's the reason for requesting, that we keep our numbers. Thank you.
And is this program also $37,000?
This is the LVN.
Correct.
Many of them have,
The same that
yeah.
as the summit that was up.
Yes,
before.
they're two campuses, same administration.
And you're asking for 49 students, basically. 24 part-time and 25 full-time, is that correct?
Correct. I believe what they are not wanting to go with that recommendation. They're looking for 40
Oh,
students.
no, we're going with the recommendation.
Okay.
They are.
I think like
Yeah.
originally they were asking for a lot more and.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going.
Are there other questions from the board?
I do, Madam Chair. Dr. Thompson, you've heard the statements made by the program reps. Did you receive a response to the violation notices previously, before today?
I have not received any response.
Okay, given their oral statements today, does that change your recommendations that you've put forth in your report? Thank you.
Any other board questions or discussion? Any public comment in the room? All right, seeing none. Moderator, can we check to see if there's any public comment online, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. In response, I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter? Yes. Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman? Yes. Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Needless?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
I also vote yes, so that motion carries by a vote of 9. Thank you. And we will move to E, recommendation to rescind the pattern of admission and request to admit students for Career Care Institute, Moreno Valley. Ms. Gomez.
Thank you. No worries.
When you're ready, is there any new or additional information to your report?
No, there is not. I have been working close with this program and I stand by my report.
You stand by your report. Excellent. Let's see. Is there any comment from representatives of the program? Oh, excuse me, I have to ask for the motion first. Can I have a motion to approve the Career Care Institute, Inc., Moreno Valley VN program report and adopt the NEC recommendations regarding recommendation to rescind the pattern of admission and request to admit students, and a second?
Kenneth Maxey, so moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're ready for comments from the representatives. Thank you for coming.
Good morning. Just would like to state my name. My name is Gabriela Quintanilla, and I'm the campus director, and I'm here with Dr. Corinne Stevens, our program director.
Good morning. Now, we agreed, we met with Ms. Gomez, and we do agree because our board pass rates were down. I just became the DON maybe a couple of weeks or so ago, and we've been working to put things in place and continuing to be successful. We've had a couple of board pass rates that are up to par. And we want to continue that practice. We're beginning to, I've met with the departments and we're putting plans together to make sure that our students can meet the criteria and pass their boards. We always suggest within the first 3 months after graduation. You know, I'm not new to the campus. I've been a DON down there before. But I want to thank Ms. Gomez for working with us, and we do agree with admitting the 20 for now, and then when we apply for the other ones this year, which is around July, that we will be able to request the 30 students that we had normally been allowed to admit.
Thank you for that. Can I ask really quick, what's the cost for a student to go to CARE Career Institute?
Currently, the program is at 33,000 for the nursing program.
Thank you. Are there any board questions for the representatives? And you agree with the NEC's recommendations?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, excellent. If seeing no more board discussion or questions, any public comment? I see no public comment in the room. Moderator, could we please check for public comment online?
Thank you, Madam President. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 7E1, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen or simply raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. I will take a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Needless?
Yes.
Ms. Sansan?
Yes.
I am also a yes. That means that the motion passes by a vote of 9. We will move on to, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Why don't we take a 10-minute break, stretch break, and we will resume at 11:35.
Actually, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, could we go immediately to the NCSBN item?
Oh, right now?
No. Once we come back from the break.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, this is a moderator, and while they're taking a break, I did promote a number of people for agenda item 811, or excuse me, 82. Starting with Ali Baig, would you like to do a quick mic check? All right, we'll give you a moment. We'll go to Matt Sturzinger. Excuse me for probably mispronouncing your last name. Would you like to do a mic check? This is Matt from NCSBN. All right, how about Jim? It looks like you're unmuted. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, great. And I can hear you as well. So I hope that Matt and Allie will be able to unmute themselves eventually, but You're good.
I'll send them a message separately to make sure that we're on top of things.
Great. Thank you so much. And
Appreciate your
feel
help.
free. Yeah. All right, this is a moderator and Matt Sturzinger. I see your hand is raised. Would you like to do a mic check?
Hi, I'm here, ready to go.
Great. I can hear you just fine.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Allie, would you like to do a quick mic check as well?
He may have stepped away for the break.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, should I ask him to raise his hand when he returns?
Uh, yes. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
This is the moderator. And Allie, if you'd like to do a quick mic check, please feel free.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yep.
We will be moving on to agenda item 8, Executive Officers Report, and I'll turn over to you, Ms. Yamaguchi, to move it forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, everybody. With the board's indulgence, I'd like to actually move to 8 and allow our colleagues from the NCSBN to do their presentation, because they've been waiting online rather patiently. Can we do that? Moderator?
Yes, they've all been promoted and we've done mic checks. We do have their PowerPoint loaded, so the co-moderator can access it if she'd like to.
Okay, Madam President, and the rest of the board members, we appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and present the secure paperless nurse license for verification for endorsement process. My colleague Ali, he's a business analyst with NCSBN. He's going to go ahead and walk us through the process. He's got some screenshots that'll show you the nurse's experience as they go to verify their license. Ali, please go ahead.
Hello, Madam President and everyone. Good afternoon. Let's afternoon from Illinois perspective. I will go ahead and so quick question. Will you guys be changing these slides, or would you like me to share my screen and switch over the slides? Any preference over there? All right. I'm hearing none, so I'm assuming yes. All right, so this presentation will cover a set of few slides. We will cover the whole nurse's verification process end to end when a nurse comes in and submits a verification from our public nurses portal, as well as how a board receives that verification and they acknowledge it. All data on these slides is test data, and all information that is all fictitious. All right. On the nurses.com, when a nurse goes on nurses.com, there are 3 different options that they're provided with. They have the ability to self-enroll and create a nurses e-notify account. Quick confirm allows nurses the ability to look up any nurse and confirm their license information. The last part here is the verification for endorsement. This is what is utilized by nurses when they come in and they would like to submit a verification to another board. Next slide, please. Right, once they click on the verification for endorsement, the first thing that pops up is the terms and condition for endorsement. So the nurses will have to review that and click I agree. Once they select I agree, the next step is looking up their license. Can we have the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So during this step, the nurse have the ability to look up their license. They have 3 different options to look up. They can look up by their name, license number, or NCSBN ID. For the purpose of this presentation, we have utilized the last option, which is search by NCSBN ID. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. Searching by NCSBN ID brings it's a one-to-one result, and once the nurse inputs their data in there or their desired search criteria, they have the ability to select the license from the search results. And as you can see at the bottom, the search results are populated. Next slide, please. All right. Once they select their license information, the next screen displays them a list of boards. With these boards, they have the ability to select which board they would like to send out their license verification information onto. For the purpose of this demo, we've selected Alabama. Once they select that board, the system does pop up for some billing contact information, which is email address, confirm email address, first name and last name. Once they enter all those details, the next is the payment information that is captured from them. And once they enter their credit card information, the system will return a confirmation saying your payment has been accepted. And this will also allow them the ability to print the receipt or payment confirmation and either it could be downloaded as well as printed. And this, once they click download, they can also see it in a PDF version. Next slide, please. This is what the download and print version looks like when a nurse comes in. This is what this was what a nurse experiences when they're sending a verification. Now let's take a look at how do boards receive and acknowledge the verification. Any incoming verification can be tracked via the individual detail tab, and there is a verification tab within that which has the ability to track verification tracking. And once selected, it's always highlighted in green. On the nurse's landing page, on the left-hand side, there is a verification pod. Any tracked verification can be accessed via the verification pod. In the verification pod, there is different options like view verification list, view only available verifications. Clicking this would open up their verification list for all tracked verifications. Tracked verifications are displayed under the verification list. There are different columns in here, and each column represents data that is being received. So SSN, name, license type, verification status. Verification status is, I would like to highlight, that's a bit of a key here because it will tell you which verifications are available, as well as any verification that has been acknowledged. Their status is also updated as there. There are additional columns over here as well that highlight further details like when the verification was requested, when did the tracking was initiated, how long has it been since the verification has been received, most recent date since the verification was acknowledged, also days since it has been acknowledged. So you know it's up to date. All right. Then once a user selects any individual from that list, the system will automatically redirect them to the individual detail page, and in that it will redirect them to the verification pod. So by simply clicking in that individual's name, you'll be redirected to that verification tab, and over there you will have action. Under action, it will say acknowledge. That means that this verification is waiting to be acknowledged, and users have the ability to select acknowledge. Once users select acknowledge, the verification report is opened up. And in the verification report is divided based on different information like personal information, license, address, education, discipline information, discipline on other licenses type, exam information, and lastly, NCLEX registration data. That, in a quick nutshell, was the overview of a nurse's verification being received and acknowledged by boards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ali. So again, just to kind of quickly recap what we saw, Ali walked us through the process that a nurse would see when they're looking to move from one state to another. So if you're a nurse with a California VN license and say you wanted to move to Oregon, you'd go to the publicnurses.com, find your license, pick that you want to move to Oregon, and so you'd select Oregon and then pay for the verification. And then on the other end, we saw what California VN board staff would see. They go into the privatenurses.org, the version of nurses that's available to boards of nursing, and they would find that verification. They'd be able to get the official nurses verification report, which lists all licenses that nurse has across all 58 U.S. boards of nursing, as well as any disciplinary information and some additional exam information. So you got to see both sides of the process from the nurse perspective and from the board staff perspective. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Before I add my own comments, board members, any comments, questions?
Is this is, let's see more, is this just for nursing RNs?
I'm afraid so.
Okay.
Until we get psych techs nationally recognized.
And it is a great system I use it for LVMs and RNs. It just makes everything so much easier.
I want to thank our colleagues from NCSBN for providing us with that information. We had really briefly mentioned this at our last meeting, but I want to make sure that we are moving up to an actual contract with NCSBN to provide that service. In a nutshell, we are, I believe, the last jurisdiction to contract with NCSBN for this survey, but that's nothing different for a lot of things. But generally speaking, I think the compelling things for us here, although we would look at a fairly significant loss of revenue, somewhere in the $300,000 a year realm. First off, the National Council does have a grant program that we could request some transitional funds for us to be able to step down. And we figure that if, a 2 or 3 year period, this would allow our licensing staff to really, I think, analyze our functions. Now, I have to say that our staff is good. Our system is fast, but this is instantaneous fast and provides a little bit more security and functionality. So I feel like it's a very good move for us to make. It's also a really good thing for our licensees. We would charge them $150 to do this, and CSBN will be charging them $30. Like that, but again, that's where the revenue drop comes from. I think given a period of time with our licensing staff, we would be able to, I think, really reanalyze the plates of work for our teams. And there's no shortage of stuff for them to do. I guarantee you that. So we would be losing, I don't even think it's a full person of work over the course of a year, because these things come and go quickly and they come in batches. So generally speaking, I am very, very much interested in us moving forward. And at the last meeting, I asked for permission from the board to really, I think, pursue this more actively with NCSBN. And we also have done a little bit more talking internally about how this would shift and transition. So at this point, I don't have a contract in front of you, but I would like the board to know that will be coming soon. So, Madam Chair, anything?
No, but thank you for all your hard work on this and for reaching out and working with NCSBN. I think this will help our licensees quite a bit.
Great. And thank you very much to the folks in Chicago.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys hosting us. Have a good day.
So I'll go back to the beginning of the report then. And, Mr. Ito has attached a brief update on operational matters. I did want to call out, especially at long last, we have managed to successfully update and install a good security system, going back to badge access for our team. This has been a rugged about a year where we've had a lot of shortcuts. I think for the past 6 to 8 months, we did just an emergency where we had keypads installed for everybody. And even that is kind of not nearly as secure as we'd like. So, I would just offer real kudos to Mark and to our IT associate, Ty Tomlin, for shepherding that process. And, they accepted bids, they screened it with DCA's folks. So we are actually installed. We do actually now have to show badges to get into the doors, and that's great because that means that we can be absolutely sure who is coming and going. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So going down the line here, our FBI audit, Mr. Ito had reported earlier in our February meeting that the Department of Justice mentioned that we were subject to an FBI audit with regard to our processes about access to criminal offender record information, Corey, and our own information security. And while we worked a lot to prepare for this, in the end, the FBI chose not to audit us. So that's fine. We're always fine with that. The big item I want to, of course, mention is our sunset hearing. Board President Mountain and I did testify at our hearing on March 12th. And I'm very happy to report that the Joint Committee was very pleased with everything we've accomplished since our last hearing. So much so that we didn't even really get asked questions, which was unnerving, but again, not a problem. So the background, as you know, the background paper was prepared for board approval with the meeting scheduled for April 10, but unfortunately, since we weren't able to get quorum for that, the legislative committee staff allowed us to have the executive committee review and approve it so that we could meet that April 12th deadline to submit this information. And so at this point, though, I would ask the board to ratify the executive committee's approval of the Sunset Report response paper.
Can I have a motion to accept and ratify the board's response to the Joint Oversight Committee's background paper as approved by the Executive Committee on April 11, 2024, and submitted to the Joint Committee by the Executive Officer on April 12, 2024?
Wishing us on some to approve.
Thank you.
Alicia Carpenter.
Seconds?
Thank you.
Make your move. Okay, then I second.
Second.
Any board discussion or questions? Kudos to the board for all the hard work they did to get the paper together, and to Elaine for being at the meeting and always presenting us in such a professional and positive light. You're always very good. Any public comment in this room? Seeing no public comment, moderator, can we please check for public comment online?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, and I will do a roll call and establish who's in favor, opposed, or abstains. Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Neeblis?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
And I also vote yes, so the motion carries by a vote of 9.
Thank you very much. So just the trailer, if you will, to our discussion on the sunset. Our bill is in print and it was heard in the Assembly Business Professions Committee on the 23rd of April. Again, it was, I didn't even have time to sit down before they had moved the bill and voted it out. Again, not a problem. Happy with that. The bill is got some of the technical cleanups that we had discussed in the context of when we were preparing the initial report. I believe more is going to happen as the bill moves over to the Senate. But the best news is, of course, that it does recommend that PVNPT be authorized for 4 more years. Now, our last review gave us 3, and review in 2017 was for 2. So 4 years is a big vote of confidence, I think, from the legislature. I do want to point out one thing, because I got asked this morning why there was no language in the bill yet in the psych tech law. And that's because the legislative committees are working to perfect, if you will, the language in the VN section. And then because most of it will mirror over to the psych techs, once they got it all cooked perfectly, they will then insert mirror language. So don't worry, we haven't forgotten you. So any questions on sunset then? Great. As I've told you a number of times, and forgive me for that, the board's strategic plan currently expires next year. I think there's a lot of really good successes we've had from the 2020 to 2025 report, and plan, but, you know, COVID did play a little bit of a role in some things getting, if not actually backburnered, then kind of changed to exist in the world we live in now. So we've been getting started in a successor plan, and I hope all of you were able to speak with our planning consultants about the status of the board and what you've seen. I know that the management and the staff and stakeholders were offered a survey opportunity. So at this point, our next step forward will be to have a board work day in conjunction with our August meeting. And then we'll be working on it over the next few months with a final document, hopefully to be discussed and approved at our November meeting, so that it is poised and ready for 2025. The last thing I really do want to, of course, speak on is the federal Title IV rulemaking. Mr. Clifford very generously provided most of our update with regard to the work that's been going on. And I really have to say how happy I've been and actually really relieved that DCA has been a real leader, I think, in trying to move some legislative help forward this year. It wasn't just the DCA boards, it was a few other departments as well. So right now, of course, they are working with this legislation. They do have language that they're not finalized with yet, but we do, of course, appear on the calendar, if you will, the list for budget trailer bills. So soon, hopefully before July 1, we're going to see that. But on the other side of that, I wanted to just mention how much work has been going on, and especially, as usual, a big tip of the hat to the NECs and the Education Division, because they have been fielding everything from outright, I want to fix my curriculum right now, to, oh my God, what do we do? And everything in between. And they've been just absolute stars. But everyone in the community legitimately is very nervous. We've also had a lot of conversations with the folks with the community college system. So again, what we hope for is this legislative solution that will allow us some more time so that we can get together and have a really good, solid, permanent solution to what kind of minimum hours we should have. Again, let me pause for any questions or anything. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We will move to
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, do we need
If I may, could we call for public comment on the executive
thank
officer's
you.
report?
Absolutely. Is there a public comment here in the building? Seeing none. Moderator, could we ask for an online public comment on the executive officer's report?
Yes, thank you so much. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. We will move to agenda item B, Executive Committee Report that was provided in the meeting resources. And I'm wondering, are there any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any public comment in the room? Seeing none, can we ask for public comment in the online area, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. and I believe we will move on to agenda item 9, licensing and evaluations report, recommendations and possible actions. Ms. Shelley Brown.
So the licensing division report was included in your packet. So we're just continuing to work to fill staff vacancies as they arise, and the licensing staff have been working really hard to maintain our outstanding processing times. So don't really have much else exciting to report, which is a good thing in licensing, but if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Great. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment in this room. Moderator, could we call for public comment online, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 9, please either raise your hand or to type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I'm seeing no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your report. We will move forward now to agenda item 10, legislative and regulations, report recommendations and possible actions. Committee report, Ms. Carpenter, chairperson.
I have a report. We met on Monday, April 22nd. The full committee was not in attendance, so I met with staff and council. Very productive meeting. The executive officer reported on the status of the sunset review from the first hearing on March 12th, the development of the bill language, and the hearing set for April 23rd. The hearing went very well, as Elaine has already reported, and the first read of the bill language seemed very positive for the board. For other legislation, copies of some of the bills are included in our packets. We discussed the following bills. AB 3232 by Dolly. This bill requires BVNPT and BRN to join the National Nursing Licensure Compact, which both boards have historically opposed. It has not been heard in committee and is tentative a year. In the event that it is revived, however, staff has prepared a brief analysis for the board's review and possible action, which is in the agenda packet. I would move. Yes.
Actually, Madam Chair, since it's way past the possibility of being revived, we decided to just pull the analysis for a position. But we do plan to continue to keep an eye on things just in case.
Good. Okay. So we're in a watch position on that. Assembly Bill 1991 by Bonta, licensee and registrant records. This bill requires all healing arts boards to collect workforce data from licensees and applicants at least biennially as a requirement of the license or registration renewal, and to provide this information to the Department of Healthcare Access and Information. It has been amended to prohibit the boards from denying an application for license or registration renewal solely because the licensee or registrant failed to provide any of the required workforce data. It is on the assembly floor. Staff recommends that this bill be on the watch list. Is it still on the assembly floor?
I believe so.
Assembly Bill 2862, Gibson. Licenses African American applicants. This bill, until January 21st, 2029, requires state licensing boards to prioritize African American applicants seeking licensure, especially these applicants who are descended from a person enslaved in the United States. It is currently held on suspense and appropriations. Suspense file was dealt with yesterday, was it not?
I believe it was, but I don't think this was passed out.
Staff recommends that this bill be on the watch list. Next, Assembly Bill, excuse me, 3127, McKinnon.
mandated reporters. This bill would allow healthcare providers to address domestic and sexual violence in a confidential and trusting manner and ensures access to advocacy services rather than mandating that they all report all cases to law enforcement. This bill is on the assembly floor. No positions recommended, but I recommended that staff share concerns with the author's office for consideration. This was more or less the soft handoff bill, right? Assembly Bill 1451, Ashby. Oh, Senate bill, sorry. Can't read my own writing. This is an omnibus bill for DCA, and the staff has prepared a brief analysis on the section regarding the Respiratory Care Board as it relates to LVNs providing respiratory services. The board looks forward to working in collaboration with RCB to continue to offer the highest level of consumer protection and safety. A few concerns remain regarding the narrowed scope of practice and the limitations of where an LVN can perform these duties. The bill is on the Senate floor. I recommend that staff provide the author with information and address concerns about the narrowing of the scope of practice. Which I assume has been accomplished.
They're very well aware. But right at this point, the department has actually recommended that we not really address the author, but that we work through the department and the RCB to really to continue to discuss the issues that are separating us right now. Chiefly, the language that they have that seems to narrow our practitioners' scopes and as well as placing limitations on where an LVN might practice. The other, of course, concern we've always had is that we want to be certain, and, you know, granted the conversation has always been very amicable, but we want to be very, very certain that as we proceed to develop training programs, that our board and our board's experts, like the NECs, are very much involved in developing scope appropriate training. Madam Chair. Other Madam Chair.
Senate Bill 1067, Smallwood Cuevas, medically underserved area or population. This bill requires healing arts boards to prioritize the review of applicants who demonstrate they intend to practice in medically underserved areas or serve a medically underserved population. The board is processing applications efficiently and creating a process for a priority review. Would actually take longer than the regular processing. Staff has suggested perhaps the author might consider directing BVNPT to create a priority to approve new programs that are started in such areas. It is currently on suspense in appropriations. Staff recommends that this bill be on the watch list. I recommend that staff communicate with the author's office to share concerns and suggestions. My suggestions are always based on my time as a lobbyist. So I apologize if it doesn't
Be
jump
careful.
the board. Any further comments on that?
No.
Okay. Then we moved on to rulemaking update. The California Code of Regulations. Ms. Yamaguchi shared that this review and proposal is still pending. Staff and council are working toward presenting this regulations package to the board in August.
Actually, I have an update on that. The disciplinary guidelines package is now in the hands of the Office of Administrative Law. It is moving quite nicely.
Positive. Rulemaking to amend 16 California Code of Regulations sections. Mr. Ito shared that this package was posted and is open for public comment for its 45-day period through the beginning of June. Then we also addressed the federal rulemaking regarding the powers. Ms. Yamaguchi updated on the Federal Department of Education regulation regarding Title IV eligibility, because this does not only affect our board. DCA is working on a legislative fix, for which we thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Yes, any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any comments from the room? Public comments from the room? Seeing none, moderator, can we please open online for public comment?
Thank you, Madam President. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, or simply raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you very much. And we will move on at this time to item 10B, 2024 legislative season. Ms. Yamaguchi.
Actually, I think Chair Carpenter has pretty much covered all the salient points.
Excellent.
But we will be, of course, keeping an eye on that table and updating the board.
So do I need to ask for comment?
Please.
All right. Any board discussion or questions on the 2024 legislative season? Seeing none, any questions in the room or comments? I see no public comment in the room. Moderator, could we please open the online environment for public comment?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And we will move on to 10C, which is rulemaking update, discussion, and possible actions. Ms. Yamaguchi.
And I believe that was also covered in Ms. Carpenter's report.
All right, thank you. So any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any public comment in the audience? Seeing none, can we please open the online environment for public comment?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. And we will move forward to 10C2, update on the development of proposed regulations to amend existing school approval standards. Ms. Yamaguchi.
This package has been finalized.
Wow. Excellent. Any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any public comment in this room? Seeing none, can we please open this up for public comment in the online environment?
Thank you. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. And we will move forward to agenda item 11, enforcement report recommendations and possible actions. Ms. Wood.
Morning. Thank you. My name is Antoinette Wood. I am the Enforcement Division Chief. You do have my report in your packet. I will go over a few things that may not be included in there. May Mental Health Month. As you may know, May is Mental Health Month. We are excited to announce that our board's mental health public service announcement was chosen by DCA headquarters to be featured in their social media updates for the month. BVMPT has also participated in social media updates this month to spread awareness to our licensees and applicants about mental health. We also have done working on ride-alongs. The Enforcement Division is excited to announce our training collaboration with the Department of Social Services Community Care Licensing Division, CCLD. CCLD is responsible for licensing, inspecting, and performing complaint investigations for residential care facilities for the elderly, adult facilities for the mentally ill and developmentally delayed, and other facility types. Our analysts and special investigators are participating in ride-alongs to see the valuable work that CCLD staff who are licensing program analysts, perform. They are learning how the facilities are inspected and how complaints are investigated. This gives our staff a significant amount of insight into how LVNs and PTs function in these facilities. We are hoping that this collaboration will lead to more consumer protection as we build relationships with CCLD staff and transfer their knowledge to our staff. And finally, I'm excited to announce congratulations to our discipline manager, Jay Prouty, on his DCA Excellence Award. Jay was noted for clearing the backlog for BMPT. So congratulations to Jay. And that concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for that report and kudos to Jay. Great job. Any board discussion or questions? Any public comment from this room? Seeing none, any public comment in the online environment?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, or simply raise your hand. We're displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. Enforcement Committee report, Mr. Maxey.
Thank you, Madam President. The Enforcement Committee, which is made up of myself and Ms. Moore, are excited to update the board on its recent work. I'll start off with the Enforcement Committee report. The board's Enforcement Division is working with the Licensing Division to begin completing continuing education audits. The Enforcement Committee has requested that the next Enforcement Public Service announcement cover the board's presidential decisions in order to help ensure that licenses, applicants, and consumers are made aware of them. Secondly, the enforcement training opportunities. Unfortunately, due to the recent budget cuts, the Enforcement Division will not be participating in the Strengths Finders training. And then thirdly, the enforcement cost savings, which has been a really terrific job by Ms. Wood and her team. As discussed at prior board meetings, the Enforcement Division has implemented several cost-saving measures. This includes changing a staff service manager, SSM1, into a special investigator, SI, and an associate government program analyst into an SI. The additional SIs have allowed the SI unit to take back 148 cases. Since it's cost approximately $220 per hour for one to conduct the investigation, the board has saved an approximately $712,000 and $712,140. The Enforcement Committee is committed to finding and implementing additional opportunities for cost savings. And then I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge again Ms. Wood and her team for the excellent work that they're doing, not only in cost saving, but also the work that they're doing around diversity, equity, and inclusion. That concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you so much. That was a great report. Any board discussion or questions? Seeing none, any comments from the room? Public comment? Seeing none. Moderator, can we please ask for public comment in the online environment?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment or raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
And we will move forward to agenda item 11C, discussion and possible action, consideration of request to issue vocational nurse license to Ms. Tracy Jackson, notwithstanding her failure to pay cost recovery award during probation and cancellation of prior license. Ms. Jackson will be given the opportunity to state her case to the board, and Mr. Prouty will be staff representation.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here today to represent the board in agenda item 11AC, Discussion and possible action, consideration of a request to issue vocational nurse license to Ms. Tracy Jackson, notwithstanding her failure to pay cost recovery award during probation and cancellation of prior license. All relative documents in this case were sent to the board as part of their meeting packet, but I'd like to just give a brief recap while we're here. Ms. Jackson's license was placed on probation in 2007. As part of her probation, she was ordered to pay $11,614.25 in cost recovery. At the completion of her probation period in 2010, she had failed to pay any money toward that amount. She subsequently was informed by the board that her probation term was completed, but that her license would not be renewed until the cost recovery award was paid. She failed to pay any at that time as well. Her license expired in 2011 and in 2015 was canceled once it became a 4-year expire. Mrs. Jackson has now come back before the board, applied for new licensure. She was issued a denial letter based on the fact that she has still yet to pay any money toward her cost recovery amount. She's filed an appeal, and this is also submitted documents in support of her side of the case, which you've already received, and now we are here to hear from Ms. Jackson. Thank you.
Hi, my name is, thank you first and foremost for the board for allowing me to be here. I think that.
Excuse me momentarily, if I may.
Yes, please.
Ms. Jackson, do you intend to offer testimony today, or are you just offering argument?
No, I don't want to offer any argument. I just.
If you're offering testimony, we need to swear you in first. That's why I'm asking. So in addition to what you've submitted, do you intend to offer testimony?
Yes.
All right, please stand. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear to, on penalty of perjury, or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony I'm about to give is true, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't really know where to begin, but I do, first and foremost, I want to apologize for violating the ethics under which I was licensed. I take full accountability for that. And at the time that I was reprimanded, I went to court. And when I went to court, the judge decided that he could not suspend or revoke my license because I had worked for 27 years, and he had indicated that I had an exemplary work history. However, I accept full accountability. Once I was given the amount of money that was needed to pay, I was just in no position to pay it because I was a mom of 4, a single mom of 4. And to be very honest, I didn't think that they would take my license as a result of failure. And I attempted to make payment arrangements, but they was like, the guy that I spoke with indicated that I needed to take a loan. That's what he told me. And I was not able to do that. So after the time frame for my probation had ended, they would not renew my license. I received a letter stating that if you do not make payment by January 31st, 2011, we will not be renewing your license, at which time they were not renewed. And it was very devastating for me to not be able to work in my capacity. And so I just accepted that. And as the years went by, trying to do various little jobs like home health, working at cleaning homes, and just little jobs, I wasn't satisfied, and my living standard decreased tremendously. So I contacted the board to see if there was something that I could do. And I was told that because it had been over 5 years that I needed to retake the board. So I sat for the board, which was a $600 fee that I got through donations. And eventually I passed the board. I was waiting for my license, and I was under the impression that I would be allowed to work and make substantial payments. And I kept contacting the board, and they indicated to me that the board had decided that due to my lack of payment, they would not allow me to get my license. So I asked that if I'm allowed, I begged to be allowed. And they took it to the board, and I spoke with, this is Mr. Crowley.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I spoke with him and I asked him, what could I do? I was not satisfied with the decision of not being able to have the privilege of resuming my nursing career, and that I was not trying to avoid making any payments. I just needed to be allowed to work in a capacity that would afford me to make substantial payments, because currently I was just doing in-home support at a rate of $17 an hour and raising my 4 children who are now adults. So I just was attempting to appeal to the board to allow me to regain my license with stipulations in reference to the fee, the outstanding fee. And if I don't meet that fee, then don't renew them if you would at some point. That's all I have to say.
Swenson, do I ask questions?
So members of the board may ask questions. And then the matter will be taken up in closed session for deliberations. Which means there's no need for a motion during public session.
And people comment? Are there any questions from the board?
Just one of Mr. Prouty. Provisions of Business and Professions Code Section 125.3 is a standard consideration in any disciplinary matter that goes before an ALJ. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
How has it been implemented in the past?
Well, it's been implemented as it was implemented in this case. There was cost recovery awarded. Generally, people pay if over the course of the probation. Ms. Jackson had a 3-year probation. We'll generally set up payment plans monthly to make payments toward that amount. As previously stated, it wasn't done in this case, but that is generally the standard operating procedure for our cost recovery awards.
And to date, Mr. Prouty, has any payment been made towards cost recovery in this case?
None as to date.
Is it also your understanding that under 125.3 of the BNP code, the licensee or respondent in this case may make an appeal directly to the judge?
At the time of her hearing, she could have, yes, requested the judge, made a request for a reduced cost recovery or expressed some sort of dire financial situation. Yes, she could have done that at that time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Was there a reason why you didn't make that request at that particular time?
At that particular time, I wasn't even aware that that was possible. I wasn't given the opportunity. I wasn't, it wasn't explained to me the way he's explaining it now. I have a clear understanding, but when I spoke to someone at the board and I expressed a payment arrangement to the person at the board, he said, get a loan. Those were his words. And I just felt defeated. I didn't know there were other avenues that I could take. Because had I been allowed to make small payment arrangements, I would have been willing to do so.
If I might add just for a second, I wasn't the woman, the person she spoke to at the time. I wasn't aware of the situation at that time, but I would just like to add for consideration that I'm not aware of anyone ever instructing someone to take a loan. That wouldn't be something we would generally say. If it did happen, it would have been inappropriate, but I'm not aware of anyone ever being told that. So I just would like to make that point. Thank you.
And when that statement was made to me, it was years ago, right after I was sent a letter indicating that if I didn't pay the full amount by January 31st, 2011, I would not be allowed to practice. And at that time, I contacted the board and just by the voice of the person, it was someone of Asian descent, a male, who indicated to me that I should take a loan. That is what was told to me. And at that time, I just felt defeated. I knew my credit wouldn't allow me to do such.
Well, as most of you know, I was actually at the board in 2010. I don't recall anyone by the description that Ms. Jackson just gave that would have said that, but that's just my addition to the conversation here.
Are there, just for future reference, are there kind of informational programs or trainings that are available for applicants or people that are in this situation that are made aware of their options? if they don't, if they don't ask for leniency or, uh, or a payment plan at the judge or hearing, are there other options available to them is one question. And the other question that was cushioned in that is, does the board offer kind of a, these are the steps of recourse if you do not have the wherewithal to pay for the outstanding balance that you owe?
Well, licensees are informed of their rights throughout the disciplinary process. She did have the right at that time to hire a counsel, have someone represent her. I believe she chose to represent herself. Although judges, in my experience, ministerial law judges generally are very helpful in providing this kind of information to respondents at that time. And it is part of the process, though, that she chose to represent herself. I know the DAGs are in contact regularly with respondents in these cases and do answer any and all questions that they can. We all do strive to give the licensees their, due process through this and try to be as helpful as we can with the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one comment. I keep hearing him say that we are guided in the direction, something to that effect. I was never giving any direction as to what to do. I'm the only nurse in my family. I don't know what you do when certain things happen. I just handled it the way, and he indicated that I decided to represent myself. I never represented myself. There was never a period.
That was my question.
I never represented myself in any aspect. The only time I was represented was when I initially went to trial in 2007. And I had an attorney at that time. And that's when the judge said that I cannot see revoking nor suspending Ms. Jackson's license because she's had an exemplary 27-year history prior to my infractions. And so that's when I was told I was placed on probation. That's the only time that I was ever subjected to any type of judgment or representation.
That's the time I was speaking of.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
May I follow up with one question, Madam Chair?
Sure.
Did you receive a copy of the proposed decision from the administrative law judge after your hearing, which was then adopted by the board?
In 2007?
Correct.
No.
You never received a copy of the proposed decision?
Oh, something similar to that. Maybe, but I'm not certain. What I did receive was a copy of the decision that they currently made when they decided not to release the license. Once I went back and retook the board as instructed and passed, and I was waiting, I did receive a thick letter via UPS.
You're talking about correspondence you would have received by the board denying your application, basically, correct?
When you say denying my application, make me understand what you're saying, because I'm nervous. I really am. I'm not.
Okay. It's your LVN program, then you exam.
Right.
And apply licensure with the state
Right.
through the board.
Right.
Okay, you did that twice. First time upon initial licensure, I think it was in the early 80s.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
And then more recently.
Yes.
Okay, and at that time, in 2006, you were represented by an attorney, correct?
2007.
October 23rd, 2006.
Oh,
is
okay. I
the
thought it was
decision we have.
Okay.
Is that not correct?
Well, my memory fails me. It was so long
Yeah.
ago. So since you have it before you, then it is correct. But I thought it was 2007 because I was on probation for a period of 3 years from 2007 to 2010. So forgive me.
I understand. Thank you.
Quick question, cost recovery, are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Have you applied for it or have you done anything with the cost recovery? Did you apply for it?
I didn't apply for any cost recovery. When you say cost recovery, I thought you meant me owing the board the $11,000. I didn't apply for any assistance. I just was told that I could come to you guys and either get a stipulation if my license were reinstated. And I said, I'm not even attempting to eradicate it. I'm willing to make substantial payments if I'm placed in a position where I can work to do that, because I do recognize that it was a penalty for my actions.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
At the time when you were represented by an attorney, did you not receive the final documentation and have your correct address on file with the board?
No, because the address that they have currently is not my correct address. I no longer live there, but when some mail came most recently, someone who lives at that address contacted some family and they were able to get it to me. The board still has an 1122 West 69th Street, and I haven't lived there for 15 years.
As part of your probationary status, were you not advised that you had to update your address to the board?
I don't recall that. Part of my probationary status, I do recall being told that I had to have a supervisor at all times and I had to submit quarterly reports, and I did do that up until the probation period was over.
So did you undergo patient intake process?
A probation no. No. No, I received a letter stating the terms of probation, indicating that I needed to make quarterly reports and that I was not to work in certain fields or work I couldn't do what do you call it? Registry. I couldn't work in that department. I just had to work under a supervisor who scrutinized my work, and I would have to do quarterly reports. Now, I'm not clear. I can't remember if I talked to anyone, but I know I got a letter indicating all the stipulations of my probationary period.
Those terms and conditions and cost recovery?
No, not that I can recall. I remember getting a letter right before my license renewal was scheduled for 2011, and it stated that if you do not make restitution, your license will not be renewed. That's what I do recall. And let me be very honest and clear, is that losing my license was very devastating because I had had my license since I was 18 years old. So I went through a period of depression. Many things could have happened that I may not even totally remember. But then once I decided you have to accept it as it is, find something else to do. And that's what I proceeded to do. And my whole focus at that time was just raising my 4 children and providing what I could based on the jobs that I had at that time. It was only up about maybe 18 months to 2 years ago that I decided, why don't you try again, Tracy? Try to get your license back. You had them. This is my field. This is what I do. I'm a caregiver, a caretaker. And I did some things that were not ethically okay. And I understand. And I am apologetic. I operated outside of my scope. And I understand how wrong that was. But it was not ill intentionally done. It was more of being allowed to do things that I was capable of doing, but was not legally okay to do. I'm an LVN, I'm not an RN. I practice outside of my scope.
Inability to
I did present some information. I had it faxed in. I presented the benefits that I was receiving through AFDC, which you have to really be at a low level of living to even qualify. Currently, I'm on Medi-Cal. I'm receiving EBT for food. In order to qualify for those type of things, you have to be at a certain level of income. And I don't have anything really. But again, if allowed to do what I've been trained to do for many years, I would to make substantial payments, even if it came out of my check directly before I got it. But barring being allowed, what I do is in-home support. It's $17 an hour.
if the board were to grant you since on a probationary basis, to meet cost recovery during.
Yes, I would make every effort. I would make it my whole goal to do that.
What's different now than previous probation?
What's different now is that all four of my children are adults. Two have completed college. I don't have any children that I have to take care of. So if it meant working 2 jobs, I could do that. My children are my life and they were my top priority. Now it's just me. I'm not married. I'm not tied to anything that would prevent me from showing up for work, working 12-hour shifts and being consistent and doing what I've been trained to do. There's nothing.
Do you have anything else to add? Issue of inability to submissions or.
You said, do I have anything to add regarding inability to pay? I submitted some documents that,
In addition to the document.
no, sir.
Your testimony.
Other than my word, no, sir.
Concerning inability.
No, sir, I don't.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Any questions from the public in this room?
Public
Yes.
comment and campus.
So any comments from the public in this room? Does she come up to the front?
If you wish to make a comment, come forward. So you may be heard.
Right there is fine.
Public comment will be with.
Good morning. I'm a licensed vocational nurse as well. My name is Sharon Sharp. I graduated from LA Trade Tech College. Real quick, thank you for being here and thank you for allowing us to be here. Every word this young woman has said is true. She has not had the chance to pay. She went to school with my middle sister, Fremont High School. She came out of a very underprivileged community. She was born to 2 drug addict parents, who one is deceased now. The other one is still on drugs at 75. She has fought her way through life to survive. You ask her, why didn't she pay? I have fed her children, clothed her children. She gave up all hope. You ask her, why did she come back? Because I wouldn't give up on her. I said, you can do this. You did this at 18 when Yvonne Brathwaite Burt was granted the budget to start an LVN program at Fremont High School in the LA Community School District.
Maxine Waters.
Maxine Waters, sorry. She was in school with my sister. They were both in the academic achievement programs, the upward bound programs, against all adversity that she had. She raised 4 children by herself. I've watched her live in cars on the street. I've watched her wash her children and bathe them behind grocery stores. I've watched her do whatever she had to do to feed, clothe them, and make sure they were responsible young people. They all contribute to the community, every last one of them. My sister went through what she went through, and my sister had $64,000 in restitution to pay. You know where she is now? She's dead. She's in the ground. She was not allowed to work and to pay restitution. And it killed her. It killed her, which it almost killed this one too. But I refuse with every breath in my body to let her down like that. I'm out there now working as a hospice nurse and it's hard. We need everybody we can get that's on board that has passion, which she has. And forgive me for me being so emotional, but it's been a long journey, a very long journey. We have buried children together. I have one in a psych unit. Who is mental.
30 seconds.
And thank you. My time is up. I think I made it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I want to ask, are there any other comments from the public? Moderator, can we please open in case there are some online comments?
Thank you, Madam President. I have opened up the Q&A. If any member of the public would like to comment on agenda item 11C, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen or simply raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being here, Ms. Jackson. And Mr. Prouty, thank you for also being here and talking to us.
Thank you, Madam President.
That concludes the hearing on the matter. We need session.
And we will move forward to agenda item 12, Psychiatric Technician Ad Hoc Committee Report, Recommendations and Possible Actions. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm very proud to say that we had a psychiatric ad hoc meeting on May 2nd, 2024 via WebEx. And the report is provided for all board members and to the public. We had discussions on understanding the intent of the committee, trying to identify shared vision, I think, and what we want to accomplish with this committee. Some brainstormings with idea mappings, some possible actions, and then Ms. Yamaguchi talked about what's next. Ms. Yamaguchi, any additional comments?
Thank you, Mr. Hill. I think the board probably remembers that we've had, we've discussed the idea of having this very ad hoc committee get together and starting to think through the unique challenges that our psych tech licensees are seeing, especially, lately. There are so many issues. This was initially brought up probably my very first year with the board, just couched as why are we psychiatric technicians when nobody really understands what that title means. So what our ad hoc committee and the staff group had a really good conversation. I think this is a terrific start. But I think one of the key points that we came up with was the fact that there is so much, and so many different, buckets really, if you will, in terms of, psychiatric technicians, their working professional title, the decline of licensee population, the difficulties in the programs decline. And although we're still very, very pleased about new psychiatric technician programs coming online. We're very happy about that. But also I think the workforce dynamic, the scope of practice, and with all the attention and all the need in the community to provide professional help for mental health issues, for people unhomed, for people in residential care, et cetera. There are a vast amount of places where we would think that psychiatric technicians training would make them really valued and appropriate personnel. So what all these buckets I think add up to is the fact that it is extremely convenient and timely that we are starting down the strategic planning route. And this would be something that I would hope that the board would want to devote some time in discussing how best to work on this matter over the next 3 to 5 years. Mr. Hill?
Thank you, Ms. Yamaguchi. We did have some suggestions for future agenda item that's in the report, so we're really looking forward to our next scheduled meeting on July 18th at 2 p.m. That's my report.
Any board discussion or questions? I'm really excited to see this going forward. Excellent, thank you. Any public comment from this room? Seeing none. Oh, yes.
Regarding psychiatric technician,
exam.
No. No.
How often that if the exam was different? Technician, you know, of course, yeah, that's mid-surge. If they, say that as they move forward with that curriculum, medical in that program, so even if that were psychiatry, but for 50 years, they need that medical experience here because when they're doing the assessment of their patients, even for psych technicians could probably do more med surge in their program, make them even more valuable to these hospitals that do have your mentally ill patients. The psych tech needs to be able to. A lot of times you got a whole bunch of psych techs on the floor. You might have two nurses. So I think it would be a good idea if we would put more medical training into the psych technician program to help them be more valuable when they go out into the work. Thank you for your comment. Can we ask if there's any online comments, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A. If any member of the public would like to comment, please either raise your hand or type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And we will move on to agenda item 13, public comment on items not on the agenda. The board may not discuss or take any action on any item raised during this public comment section, except to decide whether to place the matter on the agenda of a future meeting. So we are now open for public comment. I will first take comment from those people that are in the room. Are there any public comments? All right, seeing none, can we please open the online forum for public comments on items not on the agenda?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen or simply raise your hand. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item 14, suggestions for future agenda items. Do I need to call for public comment on that as well? Any suggestion for future agenda items from the board? Seeing none, any suggestions for future agenda items from the people in this room who are in the public? Seeing none, can we please open the online forum for suggestions for future agenda items?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment using the field in the lower right-hand corner of the screen or raise your hand. We are displaying instructions and we'll give you a moment. All right, I see no requests for comment at this time. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. We will move to agenda item 15, closed session. The board will now convene in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11-126, subdivision A1, to deliberate and vote on disciplinary matters. Can I have a motion to retire to closed session and not reconvene in open session? The meeting will adjourn at the completion of the closed session, and a second.
John Deerking would so move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie Moore, second.
Thank you. Any board discussion or questions on agenda item 15, closed session? On the pending motion, my apologies. Seeing none, any public comment from the room about the pending motion? Seeing none, can we please ask the online community if they have would like to make a comment?
Thank you, Madam President. I've opened up the Q&A panel. If any member of the public would like to comment, please type comment or raise your hand. We'll give you a moment. All right, I see no request for comment. Madam President, I return the floor back to you.
Thank you so much. And we will now do a roll call vote on going to closed session and adjourning. Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Durking?
Yes.
Ms. Guzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Maxey?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Neeblis?
Yes.
Ms. Sanson?
Yes.
I also vote yes. That motion carries by a vote of 9. We will move to item 16 briefly, which is adjournment. This open session stands adjourned at 1 p.m. Thank you for everyone for your participation.
3 hours.